It's now 6:01. It's time to begin our regular scheduled board meeting for the Port Arthur Economic Development Corporation. May I have a roll call, please?
Beverly Raymond. Kayla Jacobs. Here. Jerry LaBeouf. Here. Daryl Anderson.
Here.
Morris Albright.
Here.
Ingrid Holmes. Here. Melvin Getwood.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Stand for the invocation. Ms. Jacobs, please, if you would.
Let's bow our heads. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for waking us up this morning with all of our faculties intact and bringing us to this moment in the day to carry on the business of the Port Arthur EDC. We pray that we conduct the business of this meeting decently and in order and with the city and the citizens of Port Arthur at forefront of mind, Lord. We pray that you cover and protect each of us and our families. We ask these things.
Amen.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, board, we have our minutes from our May regular board meeting. Have a motion to approve.
Move.
Second.
Been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we have a presentation from Dr. Betty Renard, President of Lamar State College, Port Arthur.
Evening. Nice to be here with all of you. I want to first of all thank Terry for putting me on the agenda this evening. I see that you have a 3-minute time limit on the presentation. I might need a minute of that. It's just a very brief update on some of the things that we are working on at Lamar State College, Port Arthur. And I'm sure that some of you have heard or been aware that Seahawk Landing is a property that ITAX is no longer interested in owning. And so we are doing our research and our due diligence and exploring options that would allow the college to purchase Seahawk Landing. So that is our plan at this point in time, and we hope that by the end of the summer and if everything goes well, maybe even as early as July, we'll be new owners of Seahawk Landing. So that is something that was unanticipated by us, but it's something that we did not want to see go to another owner. So I like to keep you up to date on some of the things that are going on at the college so that when people ask you in the community if you know about the college, you can say yes, that you know what's going on there. Also, a little bit of an update. The legislative session is over. Hallelujah. So, and we were fortunate enough to receive some of the requests that we made during the legislative session. Probably the biggest one is an increase in our formula funding rates. So we're very pleased with that, and with inflation and increased costs, it's all going to get used and put to good use. So, so that is one of the things that we're very happy to report following the session. The other thing that I was going to give you a heads up about, before the end of the summer, I'm hoping within the next 30 to 60 days, I'm hoping to have a proposal to bring to you for some support and funding. We're working on several different projects right now on campus that are going to require some support, and I think a couple of those may fit very well with the goals that you have for the EDC, and hopefully we can partner on something down the road. I also have, am I a minute? I think okay, I got 2 minutes left then. So I'd be happy to also answer any questions that you might have. If there's anything else that you'd like to know about what's going on at the school or down the road, be happy to. Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On on to communications, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, directors. Two items under communications, and they will be found in your communications tab in your book. The Greater Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce will be hosting the three LNG representatives from the three LNG plants on the 24th of this month. The PADC will have a table, and if your schedules allow, it's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on that day. We certainly would welcome having you join us. That'll be Cheniere, Golden Pass, and Port Arthur LNG as the featured guest. And then the other communication is just a continuation, keep you on your mind that the industry show for 2025 will be on the 14th of August. Any questions on either? Again, thank you, Mr. President. A few items. First of all, just a quick update on the project to implement the City of Port Arthur's downtown revitalization plan. Last month, I provided you with the information on the community and business representative surveys. Thank you for those of you who distributed those. The consultant, Retail Strategies, has had a very strong response. Back in the middle of the last month, Retail Strategies hosted a business input, well, I'll call it a stakeholder input session. Had some 30 folks represented that were invited and handled by Retail Strategies. The consultant felt that they got some really good information. Folks were very open, very communicative about what their vision is of downtown, both from a resident point of view as well as a business point of view. So that information they collected is being fed into the work roadmap that they will provide to us in the middle of the summer, which will lead to a final overall plan later on in the year, targeting November. So that is continuing to go well, and pleased with what the consultant is providing in terms of service so far. Any questions? Okay. Staffing update. At long last, I'm happy to report that Deputy Mueller and I were able to identify a finalist for the marketing and insight/research position. Had hoped to present that person tonight, but the onboarding and human resources items are still ongoing, so I certainly did not want to preempt and get ahead of HR. So hopefully at your next meeting, I'll be able to present that individual to you. In the meantime, we have posted, or specifically Deputy Mueller has posted for her administrative clerk position, also known as the gatekeeper for the press building. So that has been posted now. I think we're in our second week of having that posted, both internally as well as externally. Has it been posted? Okay. So looking forward to getting good feedback on that. And as I kind of made joking last month, some days it feels like all her and I are doing are interviewing and recruiting and going through applications and resumes. But that's what it takes to get a strong team. In addition to that, and I'm remiss that I didn't have our intern, but we have a, much like we did 2 years ago and 2 years prior to that, we have a summer intern that's been assigned to us as a part of the University of Texas's home program. We will have her through the balance of the summer. And so I look forward to introducing you to her. She started today, rolled up her sleeves, started working with Ms. Mueller and Mr. Granger, and so we're really happy to have her. And like I say, we'll hopefully at your next meeting we'll have these people introduced to you. From there, let me just go into, in your package you have this last month's budget report for the month of May. should be on ledger paper, and hopefully you've had a chance to observe and look it over. Just go touch it, just like I did last one. Let me just touch upon a couple of things. I won't go through line by line, but just some highlighted items. And then we'll roll into that. I'm sorry. Oh, did I show the wrong page? I did. I'm sorry. Thank you, Director Albright. Good catch. So where is the May report? I'm sorry. Under reports. Thank you, Director Albright. So let me turn this around. Just let me hit some of the highlights before we roll into the update of the preliminary budget. Did I give it back to you? Bear with me for a second. I have my notes. I must have closed them up. Here we go. Alrighty. Thank you for your patience. Our budgeted revenue for this year was $9.5 million. Year-to-date revenue is sitting at $6.7 million. It's a variance of $2.8 million remaining over the course of the fiscal year, which, as you know, ends in the end of September. In terms of some of the line item highlights, in terms of sales, we're sitting at just shy of $5.2 million. In terms of received, that represents 69% of the overall budget. For the month of May, we took in $728,000. In terms of rental income, we're sitting at just shy of $158,000 year-to-date, just roughly 63% of the target that we started out with last October. Sales of land, as we sit here tonight, we've exceeded budget by some $800,000, and just round numbers, $800,000 for a positive variance. Our interest on investments, we're at 100% of target. And then in terms of transfers from our general fund and reserve, we are fully on budget, and unutilized reserve has not been tapped in yet, and we do not foresee that it will be. Hopefully there's no emergencies between now and September 30th. So in terms of just our fiscal standing, as we sit here tonight, we continue to be on target. We continue to be very conservative. We set out back last October with a very conservative and balanced budget. Fortunately, we've had no hiccups that have changed that. So I continue to report to you that we're on track, and hopefully we will, like I say, not have any hiccups, and we'll stay within all of our targeted ranges, both income as well as expenses. Questions?
Yes, and I'm going to go back to March. In March, we had land sales of $854,000, or something to that effect. And I'm curious, what did we sell for $854,000 in March? That's the first time it shows up.
Goes on any? Used to, yeah. Oh, and Spital. Miss Miller, we closed on Spital and Spital in April. Is that right? So it wouldn't have shown up in the March report.
Yes, this year, as of January, we've had 3 closings. So I don't know what the total number is, but that could be what those are from.
Ms. Jacket is looking that up now. In terms of expediting things, if you have questions like that, if I could get them in advance so we can make sure that we have the necessary reports that you need. Obviously, we came with May, but if we're going back to March, just give us a few minutes. We'll look that information up and give you the specifics of who were the companies. If, Mr. Anderson, if you don't mind just letting us have that few minutes, thank you. while she's doing that, we'll get you the specifics, and let me just touch, the reason I'm stalling is that she's also has to make a presentation to you, so we'll try and get that information before meetings end, but right now we're kind of bouncing back and forth. But thank you, Ms. Jokette, for looking that up. Last month, Mrs. Jokette presented to you the first preliminary fiscal year 25-26 budget. Gave you a presentation on it, and as she explained and I followed up, we couldn't have emphasized preliminary any more than we did. That was certainly a picture of what everybody would have liked to have had, the proverbial, if there's money is no object and you have everything that you want, the various departments put in what they'd like, and now we've gone back and brought everybody, including myself, back to reality. For example, that first preliminary budget that we presented had us tapping into the fund balance. For anyone that's been with me for the 3 years, I don't do that. So we have gone back and gotten out of the fund balance to provide a balanced budget that does not tap into our reserves. And when we get to that point of bringing the final to you, much like the previous 2 years, we will simply freeze at whatever we end with this year. So there would be no net projected growth. But we'll get to that in a second. So once we finish up the May report, we'll segue into the second preliminary budget. Bless you.
Good afternoon, Board of Directors. Tonight I will review the adjustments made to the first preliminary budget that was presented to you on May 5th, 2025. At the last meeting, the budget projections included a shortfall of $1,206,755, which was to be covered by the fund balance. After careful consideration and strict cuts, I was able to eliminate the use of the reserve account. Adjustments to the preliminary budget. The purpose of the adjustments was to refine initial estimates based on updated information and stakeholder feedback. An initial allocation of $1,206,755 million from the reserve account was planned to address a budget shortfall. Following a detailed review, the need for reserve funds was eliminated through a combination of increasing projected sales revenue from the sale of 5 acres of land to 9, and reducing allocations across selected departments. In front of you is the line items, the department name, the original allocation that was presented to you in the last board meeting, the decreased amounts that we are suggesting, and the percentage of the decrease in the new allocation. Promotional programs. The original allocation under the Bear Department was $50,000. This has been reduced by $20,000, a 40% decrease, resulting in a new allocation of $30,000 for promotional items related to Bear. The original allocation for Workforce and Community Development was $80,000. This has been reduced by $50,000, a 62.5% decrease, resulting in a new allocation of $30,000 for Workforce and Community Development sponsorships. Industrial Park. The original allocation for the Bear Department under Industrial Park Development was $220,961. This has been reduced by $100,000, a 45.3% decrease, resulting in a new allocation of $120,961 for Industrial Park Development. Contingency. The original allocation for the Bear, Center for Entrepreneurship, Market and Interest, Workforce and Community Development, and corporate level departments were $42,000 per department. This has been reduced by $10,000 for each department, a 23.8% decrease per department, resulting in a new allocation of $32,000 per department. Equipment. The original allocation for marketing and interest department was $150,000. This has been reduced by $100,000, a 66.7% decrease, resulting in a new allocation for $50,000 for M&I technology. Building. The original allocation for the marketing and interest department was $100,000. This amount has been fully reallocated, resulting in a 100% decrease and a new allocation of $0. The change reflects a strategic decision to eliminate or defer planned activities in this area to prioritize higher impacts needs within the overall budget. This was the consideration of the improvement to the building renovations, and we might just have to put that off just a little bit in order to reduce our budget. So it still is under consideration. It's possible it still could happen. It just depends on how we move forward. Advertising. The original allocation for the Bear Department was $50,000. This has been reduced by $30,000, a 60% decrease, resulting in the allocation of $20,000 for Bear-related advertising. The original allocation for Marketing and Insights Department was $116,000. This has been reduced by $50,000, a 43.1% decrease, resulting in the allocation of $66,000 for Marketing and Insights-related advertising. Professional services. The original allocation for corporate level expenses was $445,353. This has been reduced by $100,000, a 22.5% decrease, resulting in a new allocation of $345,353. Building renovations under consideration will be modified due to the reduction. On the professional side, this has more to do with the architectural part of the building renovations. The original allocation for the entrepreneurship program was $400,000. This has been reduced by $200,000, a 50% decrease, resulting in a new allocation of $200,000 for the development of entrepreneurship program. Job training. The original allocation for new programs was $380,000. This has been reduced by $200,000, a 52.6% decrease, resulting in a new allocation of $180,000. Development. The original allocation for new incentives was $1 million. This has been reduced by $8,055, a 0.8% decrease, resulting in the allocation of $991,945. The minor adjustments reflects fine-tuning to improve budget accuracy and ensure efficient use of resources. The summary is, as part of the latest budget refinement process, a series of targeted reallocations were made across multiple departments to better align spending with strategic priorities and address previously unaccounted for shortfalls without drawing from reserve funds. In total, these adjustments represent a strategic, data-driven reallocation of funds designed to strengthen financial discipline, support organizational priorities, and eliminate the need for reserve fund usage, all while addressing a previously unrecognized shortfall in the original budget. I thank you for your time. This is how I was able to reduce and eliminate the reserve fund. If you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. Just address those to Mr. Stokes by either phone or email, and he will get back with me.
Any questions on what was presented to you?
I have one question. I couldn't see it. Is it any way possible to get a copy of what you read? Because it's not breaking down on here.
Okay.
Okay, 'cause I couldn't. I tried to look here and then.
Well, what I read wasn't all on the slideshow, so if you was looking for it, yes, I could get that to you, no problem. Thank you. Anything else? No.
So directors, as Ms. Jackett said, if you have any feedback, we would welcome that over the next 30 days as we drive towards a final budget to present to you at your July meeting. She continues to be on track and on target with the development timeline that was presented to you back in February. At this time, directors, I would invite Mr. Sean Granger to the podium, our manager for workforce and community development, and to provide you an update on our workforce programs. Mr. Granger?
Good evening, Board. Once again, it's a pleasure to be in front of you to give you the workforce program updates. We will start with the Lamar State Port Arthur Scholarship. We assigned 10 scholarships for this year. Currently, right now, we do have 7 scholarships that are qualified. We had 8 that were turned in. 1 applicant actually stays in the city of Groves, which disqualified them from participating in the scholarship. I did expand the scholarship out until this Friday due to the fact that we were able to get in touch with the home schools a little bit later, and I actually was able to go out to Sabine Pass to also talk to the superintendent out there to get their feed in as well. Currently, right now, we do have 3 of those scholarships coming from Memorial, and 2 coming from Nederland, and the other one's coming from Port Arthur Memorial. As far as it goes for the youth employment program, we had a total of 29 applications that were submitted for the program. 3 of those came from Bob Hope, 8 from PA Memorial, 3 from Woodrow Wilson, and 1 from Nederland. We have currently narrowed it down to the 15, and those were the 15 schools where they come from at this time. Currently right now, they're in the process of getting onboarded by the city. So the city does have all of their paperwork. They have the actual wagers and so forth. So they've been put into the payroll system. They're doing their background checks. They're scheduling them for physicals as well as drug screenings. And once they complete that, then we're looking at a possible start date of the 9th. But that's going to be based on how quick they get to their physicals and actually get those returned. But the city is working with us hand in hand. We also have half of the people that came into this cohort, 7 of them were nursing and healthcare. We actually had someone interested in water science, business administration, real estate, IT, robotics, welding, and 1 automotive. We have participation with businesses, of course, from the City of Port Arthur, various departments such as police, fire, water, health department, parks and rec. We also have been in contact with the Southeast Texas Black Nurses Association, as well as Freeman Brokerage, and there's a couple other companies as well that are also putting into returning paperwork to also participate in the program. As far as it goes for program expansions, we're continuing our talks with Lamar State Port Arthur, as well as Lamar Institute of Technology, as well as Lamar University. We were also paying attention to the legislation as well, because there is workforce buddy that is actually going to each of those levels. And so we have been in talks with Texas Workforce Solutions, as well as the colleges, as well as TMAX, to create and expand out programs for Port Arthur residents to attend. We are also in talks with ABC Southeast with their programs. The thing that is good about them is that they actually have an apprenticeship program that allows folks to go through the training and go directly to work. Currently, right now, we have a CDL class that just ended on June 2nd. The next CDL class will start on May 12th. Well, it just started on May 12th. We had 9 enrolled. The next one will start in, where did I write that down at? Next one starts in about a week. We have about 8 folks already enrolled in that class. As far as the Fire and Police Academy, we are getting ready to take that to legal in order for them to take a look at the contracts. We wanted to ensure that we did get the municipal rate, because fire departments and police departments do get a discounted rate compared to someone that's walking in off the street. And so we wanted to ensure that we were contracting and making sure that we got the verbiage and the language in there correctly. At this point, that is all I have for my report. Are there any questions?
Kids that you hired are going to put through, did you say that some of them was going to the city of Port Arthur?
That's correct.
In what departments?
Parks and Rec and the Fire and Police Department. I think it's 1 for Parks and Recs and 1 for Police Department.
It's 2 kids.
2, we're also trying to get 1 into the Water Department.
Asked, they won't harm. That's what the whole project was for, I thought, to try to find some place where maybe they would hire these children or kids or whatever.
Well, ultimately, that's what we're looking at, especially with apprenticeship programs. Keep also in mind, too, we did expand the program out, so 7 of those that are participating in the program are seniors, or graduating seniors. The other 8 of those folks are actually juniors graduating to the senior year.
The juniors are going to the city?
No, some of them will also be working on the outside as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. President, before I wrap up my report, I want to double back to Director Albright's question. Just for the record specifically, back in March, apparently the budget report showed a total of land sales in the neighborhood of $854,000, and Director Albright would like to know the sources of those sales.
Bishop 1, 8.618 acres of land was sold for $526,751.35. The Texas Regional Mid-County Plaza, 307,373.84. Do you have, let me go back to the March report because that's the 2 that I showed that came.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. President, that concludes my report.
Any questions for Mr. Stokes? Thank you for your report. We now move to our consent agenda items. Have a motion to approve our consent agenda items.
I'd like to hold 1 and 3.
And 3?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else? All right, may I have a motion to approve consent agenda items 2 and 4?
So moved.
It's been moved and second to approve consent agenda items 2 and 4. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Consent agenda item number 1, to review and discuss and possible action to approve rights of entry of survey and exploration permitted to the Department of Army Corps to enter upon the land within the Port Arthur Industrial Park.
Make a motion.
Consent?
Ours.
We can vote to approve it all right now. Get on out of here. No, let me stop. Again, may I have
Make a motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second, please? It's been moved and second. Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you all for your patience. Jumped ahead. For item number 1, I'm going to ask Deputy Miller to speak to that and provide any details that you all might need on that.
I've just got a question.
Okay.
All right. I know we got to do it, but my question is what are they looking for?
Well, this is actually the Army Corps of Engineer, and what they're doing is they're doing a flood mitigation campaign throughout the Gulf Coast to prevent floods and risk of floods. So what they need our property for is to actually access our neighboring properties. So this is really just to access ours to cross over into our neighboring properties.
More of our property?
Right?
I guess my $1 million question is the levee and everything else isn't anywhere near there.
Not sure exactly what it is on those neighboring properties they're looking for, but it is part of their flood mitigation campaign, so I'm assuming they may be looking at the canal that's right there that neighbors our northeast side of the business park. That is what I'm assuming they need access to.
All right, thank you.
Director Albright, your question, sir.
Okay, my question's this, and it's on the 90,600 contract that I read. And it doesn't, under the every 6 months, they're supposed to tend to the flower beds and remove weeds every cut. But every 6 months, they're supposed to mulch, fertilize, and do everything else. And I took a drive out there because I've noticed for quite a while there's weeds and everything else. And I'm sure they're turning in these reports, but my question is, it doesn't look like that they're mulching every 6 months, weeding. And, you know, a couple of the irrigation little stub up things were kind of bent over. And, you know, I could be wrong, but my gut's telling me they're not fulfilling their contract.
So we have had in the past conversations with them to improve on the mulching and the cleanup of our shrubs. There was some overgrowth for some time, and they have done a better job at keeping up with that and going out there and keeping those things clean. As far as the irrigation system, we have identified some problems that they are currently working on. They are eventually going to go out there here soon and replace some of those heads. We have had to call out an electrician to, there was some problems with our electric side of them. So those things are being rectified. They weren't identified. So those are some things that we do have to take into consideration when renewing. This is their last renewal, so next year we will be going out for a new bid for a new contract. So at this time, because they are working with us and improving their product and their output, we are recommending going ahead and renewing this for this year, and then seeking out and making sure we cover those different terms that we're seeing some problems on for the next contract.
Okay. Now, for the additional 39,200, what's that for?
So this is actually an amendment to this contract. Several years ago, we had the curbs 5 or 6 feet in from the curb throughout the business park covered by a contractor. At some point, we ended up taking that in-house, and our maintenance person did that. They covered that for us. We purchased equipment for that person to do it. At the time that we did that, we were only responsible for a 5,000 square foot building on 39th Street. Since then, we have our portfolio for real estate between our 2 office buildings has grown to 75,000 square feet. We've also created a recreational area in the business park. So with those additions, and especially with the ramping up of the press building, I have seen over the last 2 years a strain on our maintenance personnel. We only have one person who is responsible for both buildings, as well as the business park maintenance, as far as the 6 feet in from the curbs throughout the entire park. That is a lot for one person. I've kept an eye on it, and I'm bringing it to you all now to consider going ahead and putting this back on our contractor. That way, the maintenance personnel can focus solely on our properties in grass cutting and landscaping within our 2 properties. There's not much. That's why that person is going to be able to cover those 2 here and at the press building, but there is a small patch of grass and then some weed eating around the building.
You got something?
Yeah, Crystal, did you go out for bids on this 39,200?
So this one because we're amending this contract, we already have a contractor. Purchasing said we can go ahead and just add it to this one. And then next year when we bid out, it'll be bid for the entire thing.
After reading this today, I reached out to our old maintenance guy that was cutting this for 15 and a half years and doing this building maintenance also. And he had no problem of keeping up. And if this maintenance guy can't keep up, I would say 3/4 of his time is hooked up to the grass. So what are y'all gonna do with him?
Well, the time management is exactly the problem. So previous staff members, they did not have the press building to have to oversee. That requires a lot of maintenance time. Whenever they are out in the business park, it takes them at least a week to get it all done because it is a now 400-acre business park. That's a lot for a person to literally weed eat down all of the curbs and keep up with the recreational area and then have to tend to these buildings when something goes wrong. Because of that, the time management just isn't adding up anymore, and that is why we're considering going ahead and putting this back on the contractor and letting that maintenance person focus solely on the buildings.
On maintenance on the building, everything that we do, we have a contractor. So why do we need to oversee a contractor such as air condition, heating, elevators, or anything else? I mean, they're licensed. Why, or generators? Why would we have somebody worrying about that?
Well, first, their first form of action is actually troubleshooting. So our maintenance personnel actually goes up there, troubleshoots the problem first. If it's something that they cannot work on, then that's whenever a third-party vendor is called out, whether it's electrical, plumbing, AC. And then, of course, even when they're called out, that person is there to be able to find out what's going on, talk them through the problem. Staff would not be able to tell them what, we don't go on the roof, so we don't know what's going on with the AC. So that maintenance personnel is there to be able to explain that to them.
I still don't, he's not certified in anything. He's not licensed in anything. I still think if you want us to accept this, then I'd like to know what you're going to do with him, with 3/4 of his responsibility gone. That's my opinion, 3/4, okay? The other person I talked to did go to the mail, did go to City Hall, did do what he had to do, paint some. So you know, you're not talking a little bit, you're talking 39,000. I don't know what the guy's salary is.
Right. Well, let me just remind you, the previous person did not have the workload that the person now and the person before the current person has. So it is a lot more, substantially more than what the previous person that I'm assuming you spoke to had at that time.
He had the grass, though, same amount of grass. And he kept up with the grass.
Other than the recreational area, but he had grass to do, yes.
So at this point, we just need to consider if we're going to move on this as presented to us. Obviously, staff sees that there's a need for some help for the individual that is doing the work. So at some point, we're going to have to address it, whether it be in a contract or hiring someone else to help out. So at some point, we're going to still have to address it. It's just a matter of how we want to address that. And I think either we can go with this that they're proposing, or we can try to figure out how we're going to get the help we need to make sure the things that need to be done are done. So again, we have this motion on the floor here to approve this, and if we don't have any other questions, let's go ahead and take a vote on this. All in favor?
Like a roll call vote.
Okay, I'm gonna do a roll call.
Beverly Raymond,
I'm not saying, 'cause I really don't know a whole lot about it. I know that and I know we're supposed to be voting and not talking. And I have a problem with these people.
Hannah Jacobs,
Yes.
Jerry LaBeouf. No. Daryl Anderson,
Yes, question, did you get a clarity on? No. Okay, all right, there you go. Just wanna make sure you say what you said. Here we go.
and Ingrid Holmes. Melvin Getwood. That's 3 noes and 4 yes.
And motion carries. Moving on to our non-consent agenda items. Agenda item number 1, review, discuss, and possible action to approve the terms and conditions of an economic development performance agreement with Spittle and Spittle, Inc., DBA Spittle Oil Company. May I have a motion, please?
I make a motion that we approve the Spidle and Spidle.
Spidle and Spidle. Spidle and Spidle. All right, so we have a motion on the floor. Any comments or questions, anything about this one? Anybody want to make some statements? I think we're going to approve this anyway. All in favor?
Hold on, I got a question.
No, come on, let's do it. Taking a lot of time.
We're doing, I know we've done one before, but we're just doing 2 jobs at almost 400,000?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not following. Are you talking about incentives?
Agreement. For 389,000, I believe.
I'll let Deputy Mueller, who's been working with them, go through the details, but we have a approved process which maxes out at 20% of the overall capital investment. So if you reverse engineer that, that is how we start to get to the figures that we have.
Mr. Albright, this particular performance agreement is based solely on capital investment. We are not incentivizing for jobs created. Therefore, their incentive is only based on capital investment, but part of our required, what the law requires us, they have to retain part of their current employees. Right now, they have 8 employees, and 2 of them are, per their contract, to be Port Arthur residents.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other question? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 2, review, discuss, and possible action regarding entering into a real estate purchase agreement with Spittle and Spittle, Inc. for the sale of 0.407 acres of land in the Spur 93 Industrial Park in the amount of $25,274.70. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved in second. Any explanations? Anybody want to talk?
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm assuming, why are they purchasing half an acre and other drawing?
On this one, Mr. Albright, they originally purchased approximately 2.249 acres. Once their contractor came back and did their study and drawings and all for the development, they are going to need a retaining wall. That way, it'll keep them from having to put a retaining pond in. In order to do that, they need the additional 25 feet on both the south part of the property and the east side of the property, which equates to the 0.407 acres.
Retaining wall for stormwater?
Yes.
All right, and I might as well get into it on this one. Is the city the one asking us to replat every time we subdivide an area? Okay, what are we doing about the cost for the replat?
So moving forward, we are going to put that on the inside of our purchase agreements for the buyer to take on. They currently are responsible for the surveys, and eventually they will be responsible for the replatting as well. They're kind of grandfathered in. These were in the works before staff knew that a replat had to be done. So that's why these are not included.
And I'm okay with that, but word on the street is this replatting is also causing people to all of a sudden have to do retention ponds and everything else. Is that true?
So the replat is not really the reason for the retention ponds. That is more a county issue. DD7 is requiring new developments to have retaining ponds to avoid the flooding in the area. Our property, they have let us basically grandfather in because we have retention ponds on the property already. What we have out there is sufficient enough to cover the developments that we have now. What they're telling us is moving forward, we're going to have to revisit that because as we develop more land out there, we may not have enough space in those retention ponds. So either we are going to have to put that on the developer to add to their developments, or we, the EDC, need to look at creating another pond.
All right, when did the requirements go up?
This happened, I'd say, about 2 years ago.
The requirements for storm runoff doubled or whatever?
Yes, about 2 years ago, you'll see a lot of, especially the larger developments such as schools in the area, they're starting to require them all to have their own retention ponds on site.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, I would assume back whenever we did this development, and you had to do a retention pond, you would just assume, let's say it's 100 acres are concrete. So what do I need? There goes your size. I mean, nothing's changed unless somebody's telling you that math was bad back then. And that's my curiosity question. When did the math become bad?
So when DD7 basically agreed to the two that we have being sufficient, we didn't have the north side of the park developed with infrastructure yet. Now that they've seen that we've put infrastructure in since the last plat that they had, which was many moons ago, it brought up that red flag to them, which is why they're now coming to us saying either it's going to be on the developer or you all need to put in another pond.
Part of the park was not on the map.
Not the one that DD7 had, no.
Thank you.
So I understand tomorrow, I think Arsenal Wilson's going to meet with the city on this replat on the retention ponds and see if it was grandfathered in or not. And I'd like to possibly put this on hold and have DD7 come and explain this to us, along with whoever at the city that's telling us we need a replat instead of just resurvey. Because when you say replat, they throw it as a retention pond. And who is responsible for maintaining retention ponds?
I'd have to find out, Mr. LeBeau. I'm not sure who maintains those.
What's it look like we're gonna have if we just run this, if I own the property, we're gonna have lots of holes out there that's not drawing any tax money, and then you're gonna have a problem because you can't build next to a retention pond so many feet. So the EDC is gonna start losing money if this is what's gonna happen, and I'd rather hear it from the city. Is that just their idea about replanting, a word they thought of? And DD7 come in and explain to us about if it's a state regulation and if we was grandfathered in.
We can certainly do that. I would still recommend moving forward with this sale agreement this evening. I know Speidel is very eager to move forward, and he's actually eager to know the outcome of tonight for their sale. So, of course, it's a pleasure of the board if you all want to wait, but we can certainly get DD7 here to explain that to us a little bit more in detail as far as the grandfathering and the need for retention ponds. But I would suggest we go ahead and move forward on this if you all are wanting to approve.
Any other questions?
I just want to reiterate, Mr. Director LeBeau and Director Albright, we will, going forward, adjust, and we've already directed legal to that, adjust the process where the client will now absorb the cost of the replatting. Can't turn the clock back, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but you make a valid point, and so is Director LeBeau. So I just want to make sure that's very clear on the record that going forward, we're going to change that. For the folks that are already in process, in order to keep them going and not be penalized, that's the nature of the grandfathering. Yes, sir.
Replat, I wasn't even worried about that, the cost of it. I was just concerned about the retention ponds, how much acreage that would take up in the complete park when you start dealing with that.
Replat's expensive.
So we know the replat cost is going on the decline from here on out. We can get that information about the retention ponds and how much acreage is going to take up in the business park brought to the board if someone could obtain that information.
We've already made a note under future agenda items for July.
Okay, any other questions concerning this agenda item? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 3. Review, discuss, and possible action to approve proceeding with establishing the terms and conditions of potential sale of 1.2 acres of tract 4A Block 11 out of PAEDC Spur 93 Industrial Park to Mid-County Plaza LLC. May I have a motion, please?
Well, hold on a second.
To provide you information. So before you pull that trigger, let me put something in front of you to start the discussion that leads us to there. You on the right? Forget myself. Thank you. Directors, for item number 3, at your last meeting back in May, I was given direction to have additional conversations with County Plaza in terms of their overall plans for the acreage that they had already purchased, which was 5 acres, plus their interest in this 1.22 acres. Said meeting did take place. Myself, Deputy Miller, Mr. Henry LeBray, the proprietor of the organization, and one of his top lieutenants, met here last month, had a very good and meaningful conversation, and out of that was produced all of the information that we would have wanted, that you all had mentioned that you'd want to see. In addition to the handout that I provided you, we have also been provided a nearly 30-page set of designs from the Hoddard company, which I will show you when we go back to closed session. But let me just say now, before we do that, we have the information that we need to put together, or to direct legal to put together, a meaningful purchase agreement for the 1.22 acres, if that is the pleasure of the board. All of the data that we were lacking, those holes have been plugged now. We now have an idea. 30 days ago, we had no idea how many spaces were going to be marked for the buses. We now have that information. We had no idea of surveying. We now have that information. So all of the things that were identified were holes in the process, if you will, have been plugged. And so, like I say, if it's the pleasure of the board, after more discussion, you at least now have what legal will need to put together a logical performance agreement for these 1.22 acres.
And so the question now is, do we want to go into executive session to receive all of the information about the project before we vote on moving forward, or what's the pleasure of the board here? So, y'all. Number 3, do y'all want to vote on it, or y'all want to go in executive session and hear all of what the project is?
Well, if you read, I think.
Well, the closed session would be if you have legal questions on anything relating to this project, which we can do.
What's the sales?
But you would just have to recite the section of the code which allows you to do that.
Right. And Director Albright, undetermined, because we would need direction. Does the board want to even proceed with a potential sale? So let's just, for the sake of this conversation, say yes. Then ourselves and legal will get together and put together a draft agreement that will then enter into negotiations.
So if we vote yes right now, this is coming back to us.
Well, because you have to approve the contract.
All right, I'm fine with that.
Everybody good with voting now?
Yes.
All right. If you're not, talk. Go ahead.
I have a question. This was discussed previously, correct? I guess I'm just, because the temperature last time in discussion about this particular landowner in the business park, the conversation was completely different. And I'm wanting to know what has changed and what has caused a change of heart, mostly from executive management.
Yes, you articulated that very well, and I would say the change, the word that both sides have adopted is transparency. And as we communicate almost on a daily basis, either myself and Mr. LeBray, or most likely myself and his staff, that's what we keep emphasizing. 30 days ago, you did not have, neither did your leadership, have the information needed to even proceed with a logical sale. You did not have any plans. We did not necessarily know what the end user was going to be doing specifically, and all of that has changed. So you now do have that information, and like I say, forgive me for repeating myself, a reasonable performance agreement based on the fact that we now know what the intent is, what the plans are, so forth and so on, can be put together. 30 days ago, you would have been putting together an agreement just in thin air or hope. Now we have the information.
I guess I would respond to that by saying the company in question, they're still performing the same things that they were performing when they approached us previously. And we indicated that we did not want to do business with them. And so I'm sorry to be maybe hard-headed here, but I'm not sure that you answered my question.
You'll have to forgive me, I do not recall telling Mid County Plaza that you did not want to do business with them. So if I have missed something, please forgive me. I've never gotten that direction from the board. That, in fact, if that's the case, then we just sold them 5 acres of land. I'm not sure why we would have done that if we felt so adamant that we didn't want to do business with them.
I'm not sure this would just be more appropriate for an executive session. I have more
We're moving
questions.
this item to executive session. You're gonna give me the numbers when it's time, attorney?
Sure, it's section 551071, Texas Government Code for attorney consultation.
Let me see your pen. That 071?
551071, that's right.
Thank you. All right. Which one was that? 3. Thank you.
Mr. President, you may want to give thought to and consult with legal on combining this conversation with number 6, or you're going to just go right back into closed session.
We're going at the same time. We're not stopping.
All right.
We will have one executive session. And we're not stopping. All right, so agenda item number 4, review, discuss, and possible action on Mid-County Plaza LLC and the policy for information and projects being presented to the board requested by Director Albright. May I have a motion, please?
Hold on. I think we can cover this one while we're in executive session.
We're going to remove agenda item number 4. Okay? We're going to remove agenda item number 4. Agenda item number 5, review, discuss, and possible action regarding the travel request of PA EDC CEO to attend the Texas Economic Development Council's 2025 mid-year conference in Rockwall. May I have a motion, please? Second. It's been moved and second. Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, directors. This is combination professional development, but more important to me is representing the city of Port Arthur as well as the Port Arthur Economic Development Corporation in our continued goal to that's kind of put us on the map, if you will, for lack of better words. There are a couple of presentations that the PA EDC specifically requested and facilitated adding to the agenda. Although I'm not a speaker in those, I will be basically facilitating the conversation. That goes a long way to making sure that other stakeholders and other entities across the state are aware of the things that we're doing in Port Arthur as we continue to move forward.
Any questions? All right, we have roll call been requested.
Beverly Raymond? Yes. Kayla Jacobs?
Yes.
Jerry LaBeouf?
Yes.
Daryl Anderson?
Yes.
Morris Albright?
No.
Ingrid Holmes? Melvin Getwood? 6-1, 6 yes, 1 no.
Motion carries. All right, agenda item number 6, we might as well just take that into executive session as well, under the same 551071, with the question that's going to be tied to all of this stuff. It's going to just roll together. Is that okay, Council?
Just if you would.
I'm getting ready to announce it now.
That's fine. Just go ahead and read the item, please. Number 6.
Okay, number 6, review, discuss regarding the general purposes, is a capability and Operation of Spur 93 Industrial Park covenants and restrictions to industrial park properties. We're going to move that item to executive session. So at this time, a closed meeting or executive session will be held pursuant to the following sections of the Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, Section 551074 and Section 551071. And here we go. All right, the time is now 8:09, and we're ready to reconvene our regular board meeting. May I have a roll call, please?
Beverly Raymond. Kayla Jacobs. Jerry LaBeouf. Daryl Anderson. Morris Albright. Ingrid Holmes. And Melvin Getwood. You have a quorum.
We have one item that we're looking at coming out of executive session. That is non-considered agenda item number 3, to review, discuss, and possible action to approve proceeding with establishing the terms and conditions of a potential land sale of 1.2 acres of a tract. These things alone. But tract 4A, block 11, out of the PAEDC Spur 93 Industrial Park to Mid-County Plaza LLC. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Did everybody vote? Opposed? Motion carries. I entertain a motion to. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Future agenda items. No, that's what I thought. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Give it to me one more time, please. All right. All right.
So the one future item is DD7 in the city presenting.
Meeting adjourned. See y'all next month. All right.